Because I'm okay. Let me make sure. Morning, everybody. Ooh, I'll adjust that. We're having major technical difficulties. So for everybody that's online, we apologize. We only have one functional mic. So we're gonna have fixed camera today. For everybody in the room, we just have this one mic and the sound is not calibrated. I lost everything. So we're just gonna play around with the volume, but please be patient today. We're gonna go a little slower than normal because I'm gonna try and get things set up correctly as we go along. Thanks. We're gonna start with an opening song. So if you'll stand, and I'll start the audio in just a minute. Oops.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All right, it's our morning to improvise. Good morning, everybody. Please turn around and greet each other. Find your seats again, please. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see so many of you. We are just truly happy how our attendance keeps staying, very consistent. So, if you are new to Unity of Flagstaff, I hope the greeters have given you a packet. If not, please come see me at the end. Fill out the blue card so that we can get in touch with you and we can tell you a little bit more about Unity of Flagstaff. It's a little bit hard on Sundays to connect, so I will reach out to you during the week when things are more quiet. And you can drop them in the basket as the baskets come around at the end of the service. We are a center that supports you in prayer. So would all my prayer partners please raise your hand? Usually we wear white scarves. Apparently we all forgot today. This is just a day where we roll with it, right? So our prayer partners will stand by the meditation room at the end of service. And if you would like to be supported in prayer, you can go see them. You can also ask for, if you don't want to talk to a person in person, you can either fill out a prayer request and drop it in the box over there, or you can call 1-800-669-7729, which is Unity Worldwide, that has a department called Silent Unity, where they will hold prayer for you for 30 days. Also, on your chairs, you will see that you have a prayer request slip. Sorry, this is the popping peas. September 11th this year is Unity World Day of Prayer. And we will be hosting it from 7 in the morning to 5 o'clock at night, where we have the sanctuary open. We will have people here to host each hour to say prayers out loud, and there's some quiet time in between. If you'd like us to hold a prayer for you, please fill out the slip. You can drop it into the prayer box. You can give it to me or any of the other prayer partners if it doesn't fit in the box, because it might be too small for all of that. So we hope to support you in that on World Prayer Day. And today, I'm going to do the opening prayer. Sean was really going to be the MC, so we're kind of having things go in different directions. So let's get centered. Please close your eyes if you're comfortable with closing your eyes. And take a deep breath in and let it out. Let go of all the busyness that filled your morning and just become present. And take another breath. As we enter into this time of prayer and meditation, let's open ourselves to new perspectives. Let's allow for new insights and new understanding. Today, as we contemplate the process of change, let's remember our own divinity. Knowing that the divine lives within us, we let go of fear of outer circumstances, and we allow faith to replace it. And filled with faith, we are strong to step into change. We are grateful for this time together, for this time of new insights, and we give thanks. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. So, does anyone have prayer requests or gratitude? And the way, because we are we only have this one mic. The way we're going to do it today is please speak whatever you would like the group to hear, and I will repeat it so that the recording and the people online will hear it. Marilyn.
I would like to come up and make an announcement. It's also a
Please.
request. Morning, everybody. I just wanted to give you the latest update on our. You want me to speak right in there? Yeah. Really? Okay. Hi. Our new spiritual leader, Sabrina Johnson, who we were expecting on September 11th. Yesterday? Day before yesterday. She was out shopping with her girlfriend, and she fell, and she broke her other femur. And so I'm sad to report to you that she's in the hospital, and she won't be starting as our spiritual leader for a little bit longer, as it takes her to mend that leg. And so my prayer request is for Sabrina, that her leg heals quickly and well.
And I think she's saying that she will be here towards the end of October, right?
That's what the plan is at the moment, is the end of October.
Yes.
The Wicked Witch.
So let's take a moment and really feel into this. This means that we as a community remember our own divinity, that we are connected, that we know our power in this time until Sabrina joins us. And we hold that Sabrina will remember her own divinity, her wholeness, and that we see her fully healed. Michael.
All right, I want to just say that I'm extremely grateful. 25 years ago, on this Labor Day weekend, I went riding my bicycle out in the wilderness area and happened to find the best thing I have ever found out in Florida. That's Helen.
So Michael is sharing that 20 years ago out in the forest, 25, even longer, he found the best thing that he ever found in the forest, and that is Helen. We are so grateful, and we celebrate that you both found each other. Betsy, I feel like a teacher up here.
I want prayers for protection. This small town in Central Oregon, the Sisters, that I lived in for years, is being threatened by a 20,000 plus acre fire right now. And many of my neighbors in the neighborhoods that I lived in have been evacuated, along with a lot of them have large animals, horses, cattle, sheep, llamas, everything. And all of those have to be evacuated too. So prayers for safety and to put out that fire.
So Betsy is asking for prayers for the community called Sisters, is that correct? In Oregon, that's facing a huge fire and everybody's being evacuated. So Betsy, we hold with you that everyone being threatened in that area can experience safety, peace, and a knowing that whatever is about to happen is for their highest and best, and we have no idea what that is. Thank you. Trina. Sure. I will will share the mic.
Good morning. So I just wanted to have a big gratitude to Dawn. There was a wish list item out there to get our first aid kit bolstered, and it is officially bolstered. So we have a full and stocked first aid kit. It's the kind of thing you have but hope to never need. So if for some reason you use one of the disposables or we're out of disposables, just let one of us know. But we have a first aid kit. So we're safe and healthy. Yes?
Where is it kept?
Where the big sign that has a first aid plus is. Good to know that.
You can't miss it. Thank you, Dawn. Yes.
Both of us really
Okay.
want it together.
Oh, and thank you, Trina. Anyone else? Any celebrations or gratitudes? Yes. Go
My
ahead.
cat attacked me in the midnight, and it was very exciting, and I loved it a lot because I thought he was going to attack my toes. So I was ready to dodge with my toes, but he attacked me right on my body. But it was a good thing. And then one time a cow woke me up when I was outside by mooing, and that was really nice.
We celebrate that with you. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Yes.
I have a prayer for my daughter, Lena, who last December, my youngest daughter, was diagnosed with schizophrenia. She's been going through months of antipsychotics. Finally got one that's kind of working. She's got her massage therapy license, and she's just ready to take some steps out into the working world after 9 months of great trials. So just prayers to bolster her up as she takes this next step and finds her way to her mental stability.
So Lori's asking for prayers for her daughter, who is challenged with mental illness and is seeming to get stable with medicine and is able to move on in her life. And so, what is her name? Lena. So Lori, we hold with you that Lena remembers her own divinity, remembers her own strength, and that she can take steps into this new part of her life. All right. So let's see what we have next. So then I would like to invite Sandra McFarland to come up and be our today's PA. She's our meditation master, poet, PA, and friend.
I need to start with actually a confession because I had no idea I was the PA. I thought I was just doing meditation today. So what you're about to hear is with zero planning or any forethought. So welcome. You know, as I was sitting here, I don't often share a lot. A little bit about me. I am ADHD. I'm both on the spectrum and have ADHD. And I have felt my entire world that everyone else has received some kind of manual about life that I just never got. And I've spent my entire life trying to ask the questions of wanting to know, what is it that other people have that I don't? And it was always at a perspective of deficit. I always looked at other people for the things that they had that I didn't. And it always brought me to them in both an awe of I wanted to, you know, if they knew everything about music, I just wanted to be in that space. If they knew everything about every bridge or road or, you know, whatever it was that I didn't possess, I wanted it. And I've spent my entire life asking questions. And the fact that I'm standing here in a spiritual center is quite astonishing because the first time that I ever went to a church, I was about 4 years old. And my parents they were in a bowling league, and every Friday night I would go into their little child care center. And I noticed that and of course this was early 80s, so in the child care center at one point, I got burnt with a cigarette from the helper that was watching us. And she was sitting on the patio because that's where you could smoke. And she kind of went this way and burned me on the arm. And when I think about wow, that was the 80s, okay. But I started to notice every week that I would go, her belly would just keep getting bigger. And I noticed, and I asked her, what is happening? And she says, well, there's a baby growing in there. And I said, how did it get in there? And I was thinking, did they eat it? How did this happen? And so her response to me was, well, honey, God put it there. And I said, well, how does that work? And I said, okay. And then I went home and I asked my parents, I wanted to go talk to God. And then we lived across the street from a church. And so, once again, 80s parents, they walked me across the street, dropped me off at Sunday school, and then went back home and went to bed. And I sat in Sunday school. I'd never had any other experience. And I'm sitting there, and at a point during the service, all the parents return to get their children, and then they were going to sit with them and have the family part of the service. Well, my parents were in bed. So I'm sitting there waiting for them to come. And so finally the Sunday school teacher said, well, come on, honey, it's okay. And so I sat in the pews, and they started singing Happy Birthday to Jesus. And I'm going, it's not Christmas. What the heck are you? I had such a framework. And we went through the whole service, and parents are taking their children, and here I sat. My parents are not there. And I'm so frustrated because I'm filled with questions. None of them had been answered. And my parents walk in way after the service, come to get me, and I stood in the middle of the church and screamed, no, I still don't know how babies are made. And my parents, of course, in this crimson shade, grabbed this 4-year-old and dragged her out of the church. And that was my first experience ever with church. The second time I was a teenager, I'd visited Pennsylvania, which in Pennsylvania I found that all my family did was gossip, eat, and go to church. And when they were doing any of the other two, they were talking about what they hadn't done yet. So that was their whole life. So when I arrived there, I was never given a religion. I was allowed to explore it myself. And so the first question that my aunt ever asked me was, honey, do you know the Lord's Prayer? I didn't know I was supposed to. And at that point, it was her mission. She needed to teach me the Lord's Prayer. So this was in the ride from the airport. We get home, she sits me down and she says, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And I absolutely jumped up and I went, oh my gosh, I do know that. That's at the end of a Prince song. My Pennsylvania family was ready for the earth to open up, swallow me, because I was just an absolute heathen. But I, even back then, was on a mission. And when I came to Flagstaff, my mission was to start a new life, to start a new beginning. Everything that I had tried to build didn't work, and I was willing to just start again. And the winter comes, and winters are really difficult for me. Holidays are really difficult for me, and I knew I couldn't do this by myself. And I apologize if the rerun last story I promised, but when I walked in, I just knew I needed to be someplace where I felt like I belonged. And there's only one other program that I've ever felt that I truly belonged, and it's a 12-step program, because they were broken like me. And when I walked in here, I had all of the baggage that I carried with me about organized religion, or big box religion, as I like to call it, because I never fit in any of them. And when I walked in, I just needed to be in some peaceful energy. And I knew that this was my place, because the second time that I came here, it was a day that Reverend Penny was not here. And I got to stand here, and during prayers and gratitudes, I got to be in a spiritual center that A member spoke of nearly getting arrested and splayed out on the trunk of a car for trying to get antlers off the side of the road. And then it was promptly followed by gratitude that a husband and wife went bra shopping, and he was so grateful it didn't take forever. And I sat there and I thought, these are my people. Getting arrested for trying to get antlers for dogs and bra shopping, and that was brought into a Sunday morning. These are my people. They are broken and weird like me. And so, Sabrina, we are so sorry that you are broken, but you are in the perfect place to be broken, because that is what we are, and we come and we heal, and we come together. And it's been a while since I've been here, I have to admit it, and I've been struggling. My spiritual center's become a little people-y, and drama and change and chaos, and I tend to want to just back up. And I can't do that, because when I back up, I lose all the connection that I need. And to be here and to be able to speak, even though I had no idea what I was going to say. Now I'm feeling nervous, I went on way too long. But I am filled with gratitude. I see new faces. I see faces that were here the first day I came, that broken woman. And I just say thank you. Namaste. I had a song to go with it, but I don't know if we're on time. Is it a gratitude song? Are we good?
We're good.
Okay. All right. Thank
Next
you.
time.
Everybody. Next time. Thank you. Oh, thank you. All right. Unity principle number 5. If you will please read it with me. Now I feel like the teacher again. All right. Here we go. It is not enough to understand spiritual teachings. We must apply our learning in all areas of life, incorporating them into our thoughts, words, and action. And the short version, let the truth be known. Oh.
All right, now's that time that we prepare for meditation. I want to invite you, before you close your eyes, to just soften your gaze a little bit and take a moment to just slowly scan around the room. And if any piece of art or trinket or anything catches your eye, just allow your eyes to rest there for a moment. Not thinking about what you're looking at, but just fully looking at it. Take a deep breath in. And as you release, you can close your eyes. As we settle into meditation, this is an opportunity for us to be fully present, fully here. We can meditate with our eyes open or our eyes closed, in silence or with music. We meditate whenever we give our full attention to just one thing. So right now, I want to invite you to give your full attention to your breath. No need to try to change it or control it. You don't need to make it deeper or shorter or fuller. Just let it be how it is, but give it your full awareness. As we breathe, as we sit in meditation, clearing our mind and giving our full attention to our breath, we are reminded of this deep well of peace, of serenity that is right here anytime we need it. In the midst of a busy morning, of technology failures, right here, you have this place of peace, infinite and abiding, and always accessible to you. So I invite you to take another deep breath in and release. And sit in the silence for a few moments. And as we begin to close our time of meditation, we do so with grateful hearts. So I invite you, as you begin to wake your body back up, maybe wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, roll your neck, that as you do so with a feeling of gratitude for this moment right here and right now, and for the opportunity to reconnect and recenter. Thank you, thank you. And so it is. All right, I thought there was a song. There's not a song. All right, so this week here in Flagstaff was move-in week at NAU for all the college students. I figured living here, you all might be aware of that. I don't live here. I live down in the valley, but I'm aware of it because we have a new freshman at NAU who got to move in this week. And I'm going to stop talking about it so I don't embarrass her and so I don't start crying. So, speaking of moving in and this whole season of this big life step, this big life transition of moving into college has got me thinking about change and life transitions. You know, when I hear life transition, I think about all the big stuff, right? Going off to college, leaving home for the first time, getting married, having kids, maybe retirement, losing a parent. I think about the big stuff when I hear life transitions, don't you? But the truth is there are so many life transitions that we go through that maybe we share with other people and maybe we don't. Maybe we talk about them and maybe we don't. We've heard about a few of them this morning. The life transition of getting sober and making that decision. The life transition of healing from an illness and getting back into work and into the world after some time away. The life transition of changing your view of God and being able to step back into church or step back into a spiritual community after a time that you've had to take away. So we are always in transition. We are always changing. Just since I have started talking, did you know that your body has already replaced hundreds of millions of red blood cells? You are from the inside out a different person right now than you were when you walked in here today. We are always changing and always growing. And if we weren't changing, we wouldn't be alive. So change is something that is inherent in life. And there's a saying that I love: the only constant in life is change. The only constant, the only unchanging thing about life is the fact that everything is always changing. I love that saying, number one, because I think it's true. I also love it because it's a paradox. A paradox is any time you take two things that seem to be opposite and not fit together, but somehow they work together. So on the one hand, you've got the only constant, consistency, steadiness, unchangingness. And on the other hand, you have change and fleeting and impermanence. The only constant in life is change. Paradoxes have such a great place in our spiritual life. They're such a great tool for spiritual growth because they force our minds to try and expand and try and hold these different ideas and ponder it and see things in a new way. So as humans, we have a pretty complicated relationship with change, don't you think? I mean, on the one hand, let's face it, we hate change, right? You go to your favorite store, the store you always go to, and they've rearranged stuff. Now it takes you 3 times as long to get your shopping done and find the stuff that you need. And what was wrong with the way it was laid out before? Why did they have to change it, right? Maybe you're getting a new boss at work. You don't particularly like the current one, but you would rather have them than this new unknown, right? You're afraid of what's going to change. What new things are they going to make me do? What's their personality going to be like? Are they going to make me do some dumb team building thing, right? So on the one hand, we hate change. We rebel against change. We avoid change at all costs. And yet, how many of you have something in your life that you wish would change? Something in your life that you wish were different, and if only this one thing would change, things would be better. So on the one hand, we hate change. And on the other hand, we want change. So it's complicated. Change is complicated. So keeping on this theme of change, my talk today is called Moving In. Inspired, of course, by all the NAU students moving in, but also because we're all going through change in our lives. And when we go through change, we are literally moving in to a new place. Whether we are physically moving into a new place or in our consciousness, we are moving in to a new place, a new outlook, a new understanding, a new way of seeing the world. So today we're going to be talking about some spiritual principles for how we deal with change and how we move into the new evolution of ourselves and our life that we are creating. First thing that we need to know, number one, is that change creates stress. On a biological level, change creates stress. Our bodies are finely tuned instruments. We have a very small window of a lot of different things that have to be in that tiny window in our body for us to be alive. Small window for the temperature that our body can be, the pH balance, small window for how long we can go without water. We have a very small window of things that have to be perfect to keep our body going. And so anytime we experience change, and it doesn't matter if it's a change that you're excited about or a change that you're dreading, if it's a change that you chose or if it's a change that was just thrust upon you, any type of change creates stress in the body. There are some psychologists who did a ton of research with a huge group of people, a huge study over multiple years, and they put together something they called the Holmes and Rahe stress scale. Leave it to psychologists, they always name everything after themselves. So the Holmes and Rahe stress scale. The way this works is they did this study and they found what life events cause the most stress in people's lives. And so they took these life events and they gave them each a score between 1 and 100. 100 being the most stressful, 1 being one of the least stressful, but still stressful. And so the way this stress scale works is you're supposed to look at their list of all these life events and check off all of the ones that you've experienced in the last 12 months, and then you add up the scores from all of those life events. If your score is over 150, you're at an increased risk for developing some type of stress-related illness. If your score is over 300, there is an 80% likelihood that you will develop some form of stress-related illness because of that stress. So let me tell you a little bit about this scale. Right at the top, number one, their most stressful life event, according to their studies, is the death of a spouse. Score of 100. Below that, number two is divorce. Then it's serving a jail or prison sentence. Then it's marriage. So notice whether you label it good or label it bad, whether it's a change that you invited and that you wanted or a change that you didn't, either way, it's stressful. It does something to our body because our bodies get used to our routines, and when we start changing our routines, it throws things out of whack. So we see the same thing where it doesn't matter if it's a good change or a bad change, it still creates stress. We see this all throughout their stress scale. So for example, gaining a new family member from a birth or an adoption, usually an exciting thing, right? That's still on the stress scale. So is the death of a close family member, and they're only 20 points apart. Going on vacation is even on this scale. It's a score of 13, which is relatively low, but still a stressful event. So I say all of this to tell you that it is human to be stressed out about change. It's not that you're doing something wrong or that you don't have enough faith or I can't go with the flow enough if I'm getting stressed about this change. Biologically, your bodies get stressed about change. So that means when we are facing change, not just the big life transition changes, but even the little changes because they all add up. When we are facing change, the number one most important thing we need to do is take really good care of ourselves. Scientists tell us there are 5 things, just 5, that we have to do every day for optimal health and well-being, both physical and mental. Number 1 is obvious, healthy eating and drinking lots of water. Number 2, getting daily exercise. Number 3 is connecting with others and or with nature. So having a chat with a friend, coming here on Sundays and getting those good hugs and talking to people, going out into the forest and hugging a tree. All of those things are ways that we connect with one another and with nature, and it's been scientifically proven to boost our immune system so our bodies can deal better with stress that comes with change. So that was number 3. Number 4 is doing something that involves your brain in some way that you enjoy doing. So learning something new just because you felt like learning it, not because you have to. Maybe doing a puzzle. I really like Sudoku, crossword puzzles, reading a book, creating art or creating music. So doing something that engages you with life every day that you're doing just because you want to, just for fun. And the number 5 thing that we should do every day for optimal health and to support our physical and mental health when we're going through change is to spend daily time in silence. So taking time in either meditation or prayer or just sitting in the stillness where we have no outer noise and outer distractions and we can recenter and reconnect. Just 5 things a day to support our health. So I want to share with you a passage from the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible. It's from the Hebrew Bible or the Old Testament. And before I get into the passage, I want to tell you a little bit about this book. So if the Bible hasn't been a huge part of your spiritual journey or you haven't studied the Bible, you've probably still heard this passage that I'm about to read because it's a really popular one. Ecclesiastes is written by an unnamed author that they refer to by his title, which best translates to preacher. So the book is by this preacher who, and it's just musings, really. It's musings about life and what's the right way to live and what does God expect of us, because remember, it's the Hebrew Bible. So it's musings about life, and he kind of goes around and around and around about all of these different things, about being rich or being poor, about being a king or being a slave, and he goes through all of these different musings about life. And he repeats over and over the same phrase, vanity, vanity, all is vanity. Now, the word in Hebrew that gets translated as vanity more literally means like wind, breath, vapor. So when he's saying vanity, vanity, all is vanity, he's giving this connotation of like, it's all just gonna go away. It's like he took 12 chapters to say the only constant in life is change. Vanity, vanity, it's all vanity. Everything is temporary. So some Bible scholars will say that it's a really pessimistic book of the Bible, but just as many Bible scholars will say it's a really optimistic book of the Bible, because I'll just give away the plot, okay? What he ends up concluding after all these musings and all these people he's talked to and all these things he's considered, what life boils down to, in the preacher's opinion, is that we are to eat, drink, and enjoy our work. That's it. So I think it's really optimistic. But let me read you this passage. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. So this poem, this passage reminds us that there is a time and a place for everything. And sometimes when we're going through change, we just want to get it done and over with, don't we? Like how many of you, if you're really honest with yourself, hearing that Sabrina is going to be delayed just really reopens that wound, right? But we've already waited so long and now we have to wait longer. I just want her here. This passage tells us that for every season and every time there is a right and perfect timing. In unity, we call this divine order. And let me give you a definition of divine order in unity. This is from Lowell Fillmore, who is the son of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, who were the co-founders of Unity. He says, there is a mighty unifying principle of order pervading and sustaining the universe. If this principle were to fail for even an instant, the universe would fall to pieces. So divine order is the principle, the very real thing that is keeping everything in perfect order. And we know that everything is in perfect order because if it weren't, we wouldn't be here. The fact that we are on the planet that is the perfect distance from the sun to support life. The fact that somehow mathematics can completely explain everything. Einstein, one of the greatest minds of the 20th century, it was his belief in divine order, that there was an intelligence and a consciousness that put everything into motion and sustained it, that drove his quest for general relativity. Because he believed and he saw in the natural world that everything is perfectly ordered. When plants and trees and leaves fall and die, their nutrients that they put back into the ground are the perfect things that the next plant needs to live and survive. All right, so that's a very cosmic, wide-out view of divine order. And I know what you're thinking, okay, but how does that apply to my life? Because my life's certainly not in order, right? So order, in addition to being this principle, this foundational principle of God, an attribute of God, is also one of our 12 spiritual powers. Are you all familiar with the 12 powers teaching from Unity? Some yes, some no. Okay. So the 12 powers, as Charles Fillmore taught it, are the 12 spiritual attributes that we have as humans through our consciousness that we can tap into for our lives and for our spiritual growth. And order is one of them. So the way that we as humans who aren't keeping the entire universe in order, the way we use order, Charles Fillmore said, is through mind, idea, expression. Now, Charles wasn't a physicist like Albert Einstein, but he was a scientifically minded man. So he liked to put things kind of in equations like this. First mind, then idea, then expression. Essentially, what he's saying that order is that everything begins in consciousness. Everything begins in our minds. And we focus on doing the work in our consciousness first, and then we see it show up in our outer world and in our lives. So it's like what you focus on expands, your energy flows where your attention goes, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. That is the principle and the power of order. That is the order in which what we experience in our life comes into our lives. So what we can do with knowing this power when it comes to change is knowing that everything is in order. We know that everything is in order because the universe hasn't fallen to pieces yet, right? So that means the principle is active whether we see it or not. And time again, spiritual teachers remind us that our job is not to set things right, but to see them rightly. So an affirmation for you. Made it short and sweet and easy. I trust in divine order. Will you say that with me? I trust in divine order. And I allow things to unfold at the right and perfect time. I allow things to unfold at the right and perfect time. Now, when it comes to change, when we get scared, when we're worried about how things are going to turn out, our first instinct as humans is to control. Yes? I'm worried this isn't going to turn out well, and even though there's somebody way more qualified than me to manage this, I'm the one that's stressed about it, so I'm going to try and control it. Anyone or just me? Okay. Here's the thing. When we trust in divine order, you still got to do stuff, right? If you're moving into a new house, you still got to pack the boxes and hire the movers and then unpack the boxes. If there's a change that you're trying to make in your life, like getting healthier, you still got to go to the grocery store and buy the food. You got to get the gym membership. You got to actually show up to the gym. There are still things that we have to do even when we are trusting and affirming that everything is happening at the right and perfect time. But there's a difference, is there not, between forcing something to happen and allowing something to happen. There is an energetic difference between saying, I have to be in control and I have to do it all, and if I don't get this done, it's not going to go well, and saying, you know what? I can make room in my heart and in my mind for Spirit to do its work in this situation. I can let go just a little bit of my need to control to make room for miracles. So here's a practice that I use that helps me find that balance between trusting and affirming in divine order, seeing things rightly, knowing that everything is in order because the stars are still hung up in the sky, and still taking action and making movement and moving myself in the direction of the change I want to see. So my practice is whenever I'm doing something, and this is mindfulness, you all know this, I'm sure, whenever you're doing something, to just do that and only that. And to not let your mind go off onto the next thing, to use that as a practice, because none of us can do that 100% of the time. But being conscious that as I move through this change, in addition to taking care of my body, I'm going to take care of my mind by giving my full attention to what's right in front of me. And as I give my full attention to what's right in front of me, and that gets done, then I take a breath, center in and reconnect, and ask one simple question to your highest self, to your true self, to the Christ within. What's next? So giving your full attention to what's in front of you to do right now, and then asking a simple question, what's next? And instead of thinking 10 steps down the road, and what if I mess this up, and how's that all going to work out, and what if Sabrina doesn't heal in time, and she's even later, and do we have enough guest speakers, and what's going on with the technology today? I trust in divine order. What's next for me to do right now? So as we move through change, we first have to recognize that no matter what the change is, it is causing stress in our bodies, and we've got to take good care of ourselves. Number 2, we start moving from fear of the change into faith by affirming and realizing divine order and focusing and narrowing our scope so we're focused just on what's right in front of us right now and what's next once we're completed with that. And then the third thing that I think we need as a spiritual tool as we're dealing with change is notice where the past is clinging on to you as you're trying to move forward. So I really like this metaphor of moving. I haven't moved recently. My husband and I have been in the same house for 9 years, which doesn't sound like a long time, but it is the longest I have lived in any house. This is perks of growing up in a real estate family. Who here has been in their house, let's say, more than 5 years? You've lived in the same place more than 5 years. Okay, a lot of us. Have you ever noticed that once you've lived in the same place for a while, you start accumulating a whole lot of stuff? And I don't know about you guys, but that corner cabinet in the kitchen that has just kind of odds and ends and there's only a couple things that I use in it, you ever go and clean that out and you're like, I didn't even know I owned this. It's just shoved back into the cabinet, right? Maybe you have a junk drawer or 2 or 3 that's just a mishmash of like odds and ends that you might need someday, but you probably won't need, but you don't really want to throw it away and there's really nowhere else for it to go, so it just kind of accumulates in the junk drawer. When we're in the same place for a while, we start to accumulate stuff. So the other day, last week actually, my husband and I decided it was time to clean out the pantry, which we do occasionally, get rid of all the expired food and all of that. And my husband loves spicy food and just spices in general. Like he can't cook a meal according to the recipe. He adds like 4 times the amount of spice that it requires. So he has 2 big shelves in the pantry that are for his spices. Those are the dedicated spice shelves. And I noticed as we were cleaning out the pantries that spices have started to migrate because there's not enough room on those 2 shelves. So they're kind of everywhere. And so I told him, look, you've got to go through the spices. I gave you 2 sizable shelves to put your spices on. That is more than enough. Can you please clean these out? So he's cleaning out those spices. Okay, now before I finish this story, let me preface. I've been in my house 9 years. That means we moved in 2016, okay? He finds a spice that expired in 2014. So not only is it 11 years expired, we took an old expired spice and moved it into the new house. So you all are laughing, but here's what it got me thinking about. How many times, no matter how old we are, do we find ourselves still hanging on to some of that old stuff from childhood? Those old hurts, those old stories, those old beliefs that we were so certain, we did all the shadow work, we did all the healing stuff, we did a sound bath about it, we journaled about it, and yet here it is, still clinging on. Does that ever happen? Yeah. I had a comment that somebody made to me when I was 12 years old that was a total offhanded comment that there is no way in the world they would remember. But I was doing a project and they looked at me and they said, well, who are you to do that? Man, if that doesn't come up for me all the time, right? We hold on to this old stuff and it's part of being human. Especially the stuff that happens in our childhood, it becomes part of our subconscious, part of our programming. And when we're going through change, that's when that stuff likes to come up. So number 1, be gentle with yourself. Be gentle and observe and know the fact that you're going through change. And so not only is your body a little bit more stressed out, but some of this old programming and this old stuff and these old stories are going to come back up. And it doesn't mean that you haven't healed. It's just the way our brains work. So what you can do, this is the amazing thing about consciousness and the amazing thing about unity, is just because I hear that voice again that says, who are you to do that? Guess what? I get to make a choice to not listen to it. And so do you. So I have a few methods. First, I have a quote, and then I will give you some tools for releasing. So my quote's from Michelangelo, the famous artist, sculptor, painter, everything. You've probably heard this before. He says, the sculpture is already complete when I begin my work. The sculpture is already complete within the marble block when I begin my work. My job is to just chisel away the superfluous material. The sculpture is already complete. My job's just to get rid of all that extra stuff covering it up. Well, I say to you, the truth of you is that you are a brilliant, radiant, amazing spiritual being. That is true right now, right here, already, always has been. But sometimes that extra stuff covers it up a bit. And our job is just to chisel it away. So the power of releasing is also one of our 12 powers. So you got 2 of the 12 powers today, order and releasing. And since we've got this theme of moving in, I thought a great tool for spiritual releasing consciousness, would be the Marie Kondo method. Who's familiar with the magical art of tidying up? Yes? Ooh, perfect. Okay, so the Marie Kondo method, it's on Netflix if you've got Netflix and you want to watch her. But she's this really sweet woman, and the way that she helps people declutter their physical stuff and get rid of stuff is when you pick up an item, in order to decide whether you want it or not, you ask and you tune in and you ask, does this bring me joy? So when those thoughts come up, when those old stories come up, does this bring me joy? And if the answer is no, which for a lot of that stuff it usually is, you get to decide it's time to move it on. So instead of just throwing it out the door, the next step in Marie Kondo's method is to say, thank you, and then release it. Now, this thank you can be really hard with some of the old stuff. But if we can get ourselves into the consciousness, there's a new, no, I guess it's not super new, couple, like 20 years new maybe, method in psychology called internal family systems. Is anybody familiar with it? I'm not a psychologist. I'm not going to go into the details, but to give you like a really quick summary, a really great intro book is called No Bad Parts by Gabriel Maté, something like that. Oh, it's by Richard Schwartz. Thank you. And so this book and this method is basically looking at the fact that any of the parts of ourselves that we sometimes don't like, oh, I wish I wasn't like that, or any of those old stories that come up, it's just a part of ourselves that we developed because we needed that at some time in our life. So if we grew up in an environment that was really hostile, maybe there's a part of ourselves that learned to protect itself by keeping our distance from people. So the way that they look at it is the only way to free ourselves from that is to love it and to thank it and then let it know that you don't need it anymore. So I thought that fit perfectly with the Marie Kondo method. So when those old stories come up, those old things that people have said to you from your childhood or wherever that just stick to you, and they're no longer bringing you joy, and you know that it's part of the past that is clinging on and keeping you from moving in to the future you're wanting to create. Does it bring you joy? And if the answer is no, say thank you, and then let it go. A more tangible method, write it down on a piece of paper, and then burn it. You might have to do it 20 times. I've done it with that one comment probably 100. We're still working on it. But you write it down and you burn it. Or if you don't want to play with fire, you can just crumple it in a ball, but do it like, you know what I mean? Like really get in there, crumple it up in a ball, and throw it away. And another method that you can use when those old stories and those old thoughts come up is hear it, take a breath, and then go. Do you guys want to try that? If you're willing, will you stand up with me? And we're going to try this. This is a spiritual tool from Rev. Amanda Sue called Shake It Off. Now, it really works because if you've ever seen a dog, you know when dogs get wet, how they do that full body shake, right? So they do that even when they're not wet, when they're completely dry. And they do it when they experience anxiety. Because doing that physical motion of shaking it off releases that energy from our body. I know as Unity students, whenever we have a negative thought, we want to intellectualize and work with the thought up here in our brain. Sometimes all we need is just to release it from our body and we're good. Okay, so think of something on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being super, super stressful, 1 being didn't even notice. Think of something around a 4 on your stress scale, all right? Just kind of start thinking about that event, what you're trying to change, a change that's going on in your life. Just kind of notice what happens to your body. You guys are looking a little tense. Okay, everybody got it? All right, now on the count of 3, you're just going to wiggle your entire body and you're going to like do that thing with your lips, right? Where you make that noise. Okay, ready? We're all gonna do it at the same time. And guys, I am the only one on video, okay? We're all good. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Feel better? All right, go ahead and sit down. Thank you for being brave and trying this with me. It's a great tool to add to your tool belt. You can get even more into it when you're alone in your own house and you don't have anybody to watch you. Then I know you'll even like let loose even more. So that's another way to shake off and release some of those old stories. So Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, says that we are not passive creatures waiting for divine intervention. We are active participants in our own spiritual evolution. Change is evolution. So in order to consciously evolve ourselves into the next version of ourselves and the life that we want, our first step is to take great care of our physical and mental health, doing those 5 things: good food and water, daily exercise, connecting with others or nature, doing something just because you want to, just because it's fun, and daily time in silence. Second, we need to bring mindfulness into our everyday. Focus just on the task that's in front of us and then tune into spirit to find out what our next task is, and let go of the rest because you know and trust that all is in divine order. And how do you know that divine order is working? Because the universe hasn't fallen apart, okay? And then last, release all of the old stuff that no longer brings you joy, that no longer serves the version of you that you are becoming. Love it, thank it, and then release it. With these steps, we can embrace the fact that change is the only constant in life. And instead of fearing it, fighting it, or rebelling against it, we can move into a more magnificent version of ourselves and of life in faith. And so it is. Thank you.
Give me a second, guys.
It is all in divine order.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. My decision, right here and now.
Is that better? There we go. All right, this is your reminder. Unity of Flagstaff is filmed in front of a live studio audience. All right, let's prepare for our celebration of abundance. Come on up, Betsy. She's our board basket blesser today. So go ahead and read that.
Our board consciousness is abundance. We are an abundant, thriving community. Can you hear me now? We release our limitations and give from abundance. We are abundant. Thank you, Spirit. Marcy has the other basket.
Marcia. All right, basket blessers. Let's our basket. My basket folks, come on up.
Not really.
All right, let's try that again. Everybody join in. We release our limitations and give from abundance. We are abundant. Thank you, Spirit. Go forth. All right, I'm here to remind you about ways to give. You can participate in abundance giving today. We accept all cash and checks. You can Zelle us at unityoflagstaff1@gmail.com, or you can mail us at P.O. Box 1740, Flagstaff, Arizona 86002. And remember, Unity of Flagstaff is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you. Our wish list and needs board. We had a couple of updates since the newsletter went out. So the wish list items of the mic stands and the office chair have been fulfilled. So thank you for those donations, and we'll get that taken care of. And the needs board still has a few things on it, so please check it out. Yes, you did. Okay, Unity Ride Share. If you need a ride or are willing to give rides, please let Selena know, because we'd like to help and make sure that everybody is able to come to Sunday celebration or Unity events if they want to. All right, now I'm going to invite up Trina. Well, you want me to come back to you?
We have a guest.
Okay. Oh, we have a guest.
We have a special guest.
Cue some suspenseful music I don't have.
And this is all in preparation for Night of Mystery.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Peacock. Several years ago, we had an event here because my husband passed away. It was a horrible event, but I'm over it now, and the pool boy and I are having a wonderful time together splashing around. My husband died of, let's say, unnatural causes. And now we're having another event coming up in October, and we don't yet know whether we're going to go to Las Vegas or the circus. So it's up to you all to decide where we're going to have our spectacular event this year, where there will definitely not be another murder, as there has been for the last 3 years. Definitely not be another murder. But oh my goodness, it's so wonderful to see all of you here today, and it's just lovely. Thank you. Have a good night. Oh, and it's a fundraiser. So please join us and participate. It's a wonderful time. It really is. Delightful, fun, community gathering, and a fundraiser. What could be better? Ciao.
We still have information out in the foyer about spiritual workshops. Just a reminder, if you do join those, tell them you're from Unity of Flagstaff, and 20% of your tuition money will come back to us. Unity World Day of Prayer, we've already brought that up a little bit earlier. Just a reminder, it's September 11th. It'll be here in the center from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And it's drop in, drop out. Pray as long as you want. We don't charge by the hour. All right, let's bring our baskets up. Okay, this one's you. Everybody join us.
Thank you for this bounty. Thank you for this community. Thank you for good we do and will do. We are joy-filled, and so it is.
Thank you. Okay, give me a minute. Please stand as you're able. We're going to close out with this little light of mine again.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the world, all around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All right, let's close with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. Claim the light. The love of God enfolds us. Claim the love. The power of God protects us. Claim the power. The presence of God watches over us. Claim the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Be careful walking through here. We have a cable here.